What's grounded, fam? It's your boy Johnny Gio. Thank you guys for tuning in to the Grounded Phoenix podcast. Joining me today is Will from the Other Side of Hell podcast on YouTube. Thank you for joining me, bro. How you doing?
I'm vibing. I got a high vibration right now. I like the
Dude,
pregame that we just had.
we don't pregame on alcohol and drugs anymore, dog. We
Ah,
pregame on conversations, bro.
it's nice to not be alone, right? Like
Yeah,
like this improvement stuff. It's a lonely road, man.
it really is, bro. It really is, man. So, for those of you that are not aware, Will hosts a podcast that we're going to be talking about later on for sure. But if you guys are not following him on Instagram, I highly recommend you guys follow him just because he sheds a lot of light on fitness and recovery. And I want to talk about fitness right now in particular, bro,
Okay.
just because I want to share with you a funny story that happened to me probably about a year ago. And I want to know if you've had a similar experience to this.
Okay.
So I like lifting weights, right? I never been into calisthenics or just body weight. So one of my homies, he was in jail, so he came out to work out with me and my little setup that I had. And I had the bench press ready. I had all my weights set up, and he rose up and I'm like, all right, bro, like stretch out, woo woo. I'm getting ready to get on the bench press. He's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, well, we're gonna fucking hit chest today, bro. Chest, shoulders, triceps. He's like, nah, we don't need that. I was like, word? I was like, all right, what do you got? He was like, how many push-ups can you do straight? And I was like 50. So I get down, right? I start doing push-ups straight. I did 35.
Nice.
I did 35 push-ups straight, and I was like, fuck, I thought I could do 50. He's like, all right, check this out. You gonna do 35? I'm gonna hit 50. Then right after that, you're gonna hit 34. Then I'm gonna hit 49. Then you're gonna hit 33. Then I'm gonna hit 48. With literally only like about 30 seconds, and we're gonna go all the way down to one push-up. And I was like, oh, this is gonna be cake. No problem. By the time I got to 20 push-ups, my arms were shaking. I felt pale in the face. And he's like, what's wrong, bro? And I was like, dude, I can't do any more push-ups. He, oh shit, he literally had to like lift me and spot me from a push-up position, bro. Super embarrassing. And I'm over here talking about weights and stuff. And he was like, don't even trip, bro. This is the stuff that I'm talking about, pushing yourself to another level and doing things that you're not comfortable with. Bro, at that time, I just felt so weak. I'm so thankful it was him and he came from a good point of view and he was being nice about it. But my dude put me through the test, man. He really did put me through the test. Do you have any experiences similar to that?
Oh, dude, I get showed up by my wife every day. Every like my wife is so savage. Like we'll be doing burpees in the garage. She goes to her trainer Monday through Thursday, and sometimes she'll take one of the boys with her, either Zach or Isaac will go with her in the morning, and then come back and on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday we'll be doing burpees together. And like there's times that literally she'll be doing 3 or 4 burpees in between my one, and I was like,
No way.
she's so savage, dude. And so, but she pushes me, right? Because we she's a great partner. I'm fortunate in that we both work towards these common goals. But and so it's a great example of competition, but it's also a little bit embarrassing sometimes. It messes with my ego, and that's okay, right? Like I gotta try to be humble. My kids will show me up. I mean, I, like I'll be trying to chase him. My 7-year old, he's so like I literally cannot catch him. We'll go to the trampoline park, dude, and like everybody in my family is kind of fit, but like I can't catch him, and he laughs his ass off. Like I'll start getting frustrated, and he'll just take off, dude. So I think that's kind of like what you're talking about. A little bit of embarrassing, but growth, and it's okay to laugh about. The I'm not the know all win all when it comes to exercise. I do the best I can. And
Right. All right, dude. No, thank you for sharing that, man. I think that's very important. You and your wife have that connection and like love for fitness, regardless if she shows you up or not. No, I mentioned to you in your podcast actually about my situation with my kid's mother and how we grew apart. And that was one big thing. I was in this fitness journey and she didn't really join me. So I think that's part of the reason why you guys have such a good relationship right now. So thank you for sharing that, bro.
Yeah, you bet.
Really. So the other side of hell, bro. You're on the other side of hell right now. What was hell like, bro? What was hell like?
Hell was ultimately, like, for me, when I talk about the addiction, it was never having a true honest relationship with myself. You know,
Mhm.
that's hell. Like being me and never feeling like me, never accepting me, never knowing who I am, and doing things that I don't really want to do, or doing things that I think I need to do in order to find some type of fulfillment that will never work. You know, drugs were a huge part of that, you know, because when I was a kid, it was fun. Like I found acceptance and I found purpose and I found excitement in the drug scene, you know, being a gangbanger and selling drugs and doing that kind of stuff. I found meaning in it. And I thought that that was going to be it for me. I thought I was going to be able to stay in that place, like you mentioned in your story on the show, the rave scene, you know, and I did that for a little bit. I did the gangster scene, and you know, did the bar scene, and I
Mhm.
kept changing scenes, but all the whole time I never connected with me, you know, and that is what hell is me not having a relationship with me.
Is there something that, since you have some time in recovery now, can you put your finger on what it is that you think your use stemmed from?
I think so, yeah. Well, I mean, I think I'm alcoholic. I don't think that trauma or lack of plays a part in alcoholism. I think ultimately, like the big book says, that, you know, I enjoy the effect produced by alcohol. Like
Mm.
I drink, and I like the effect. Unfortunately, I'm allergic to it, right? That along with other drugs. But alcohol and drugs were just an escape from the ultimate fact that I never had a very great opinion of myself. And so um and I had a huge lack of trust within the world. And so, you know, part of my story, the big thing where all this started from for me was Santa Claus. And I know, like like when I share this, when I say it now, because I'm so far past it, I can kind of giggle about it, but it was a big deal. And it was really a deep psychological thing for me, because when I was a kid, I had the mind of a child, right? I had the imagination of a child. I had the innocence of a child, and the people that I loved convinced me that there was a fat guy that brought me presents if I was good or bad, right? And it was based on my behavior. And I was a hyperactive kid. It was hard for me to fall in line. I had problems in church. I had problems sitting still. I was very curious, so I was into everything. I was also very loving, like I was my mom's cuddle baby, you know. So I was all these aspects, but in order to try to contain me when the moment was needed, you know, make belief came into reality, and I
Ooh.
was threatened with, you know, if you're not going to behave, Santa Claus ain't going to show up. Or, you know, when I would go to church, you know, it would be like the opposite. Like, how would God feel about your behavior right now? And I would internalize that behavior as who I am, right? And so it wouldn't be a behavior thing, it would be a personal thing. I am this behavior. Well, I don't know how old I was, but you know, I was a true blue believer in Santa Claus, right? I thought he brought me presents every year, and when they showed up, I thought I did good. I was like, bet, man. I thought I lost it this year. Here's my shit. That's what's up. And and so a friend of mine, when we were little kids, like his parents told him that Santa Claus wasn't real. And so he told me Santa Claus wasn't real. And I was like, fuck you, bro. Like my parents told me he's real. Like I was, and we got into a fist fight, dude. We were little kids and we're scrapping over Santa Claus, and I lost. Like he won. He beat me up. He beat everybody up. He was the strongest kid in the group. But so I got into this fist fight, like defending the honor of what I believed in, also defending the honor of my parents who I trusted with everything in my life, right? The ultimate authority, the people that, why would they lie to me, right? And so come to find out, I got in a fight with a dude that beat me up over something that he was telling the truth and they were lying to me. And it created a lack of trust with authority in my life. And so from that day forward, until I was able to break this down at an older age, because as a child, there's no way I could have pinpointed that this is what was going on with me.
Yeah.
It just made me start questioning the safety of the world around me. Right. And so, that's a big part of it. And so lack of trust stemmed out in every place in my life. And so when I was going through some shit, I didn't trust I could talk about it. I didn't know how to talk about it. If things started happening, I didn't know what to do about it. And I damn sure didn't trust anything that anybody was telling me. Right. So if you told me that drugs were bad, I was going to find out for myself because you're probably lying to me anyway.
Wow.
And I wasn't stupid. Like I can look back and I can see that I was a really smart kid. And I can see how I observe the world around me. And a lot of us are like that. Like we watch the world, but like when my dad was drunk and shit was popping off, and I would ask my mom, like, what the fuck's going on with dad? And she'd be like, your dad's fine. Don't worry about it. Why hasn't dad been to work for like 2 months? Like he's fine. And so it's like, don't trust yourself. Don't trust that feeling because I don't know how to talk about this with you. And that's what my mom was going through, right? She did the best she could. Like, my mom's great. Like, I love her to death. And we have a really good relationship. She did what she could with what she knew how. She didn't know how to navigate that conversation because she didn't have any type of program either. She was just doing the best she could. But it was always about like, don't trust that feeling. Just trust that everything's fine. Everything's going to be okay. And so I got into that. Like I didn't trust myself. So when it came to the first time that I did meth, like here I am questioning whether or not I should do it. And whatever voice brought me the most acceptance in my life was the one that I listened to. Right. So I wanted to be accepted within the group. I loved everybody that I was hanging out with. They were doing it. Seemed like they're having a good time. Bam, I'm in.
Wow. That's incredible, dude. I never really looked at it in terms of like internalizing that as like your personality. And I know like in my situation, I had some trust issues. I know I shared that with you when I found out that my stepdad was not my biological father. But you went really deep into it, dude. That's like I'm just blown away because now I'm like looking back at stuff that happened to me, and it's just like I can relate to that. I can
That's
really relate to that, bro. It's some crazy stuff, dude. And I hope that the audience looking right now can really take away what you just shared right now because that is some pretty important
yeah.
stuff that you can look into to reflect on.
Yeah, I always attach my behavior to my personality.
Mhm.
If you're doing bad things, you are bad. Right?
Yeah, bro. Thank you for sharing that. Very well freaking answered question, bro.
Oh,
Um,
thanks.
very well, dude. Very well answered question. Without getting too deep into like the war stories and stuff like that, because I do want to jump into the recovery. I do want to know what was the one thing or what was that one situation, that rock bottom that for you kind of clicked in your mind that just kind of said, you know what, like I'm sick and tired of feeling sick and tired.
Okay. Yeah, for sure, man. So it took me a while to process the last time I got arrested, but I was on a heavy bender, man. I'd come out of a really bad relationship I got with my current wife that I'm with now, and we actually got clean together. We were using when we got together, and we're clean now. And we left town to go pick up dope. We came down to Ogden, Utah, and the drug deal went bad. My buddy took the money. We hung out down here for a couple of days. Well, I had heroin, but I didn't have any meth. We were supposed to pick up meth, but Um, like we couldn't find him. He ended up stabbing somebody that night, and he ended up going to prison like that. The whole thing went bad. Well, we went to a grocery store and decided like we're not going to go back home without something. So we went to a grocery store and we're stealing some groceries. And the theft prevention officer tried to stop us. Well, I pushed him or hit him. I'm not exactly sure, but there was contact with the theft prevention officer. And when you do that, it goes from shoplifting to strong arm robbery in Utah. I don't know what it's like in California, but it goes from shoplifting to strong arm robbery. And so the cops were looking for us for this. And we hung out for like another day or so looking for that dude, and finally decided to head back home. And it's like 80 miles to the town that I'm from where we were at. But I couldn't stay awake. I was strung out on heroin, didn't have any meth, and like I was in my 30s, dude, just doing the same shit I was when I was a teenager, man. You know, it was shit. And we pulled over at a rest stop and um, fell asleep. Well, I we got woke up surrounded by cops. There's five law enforcement agencies that were there. It was the Utah Highway Patrol, Morgan County, Weber County, uh, Ogden City, and so they were surrounding us. And the cop woke me up with a gun in my face,
Whoa.
screaming at me to wake up. Okay, and I'll never forget it. And it took me, like I said, it took me a while to process this, but and it wasn't the first time that I had a gun pulled on me by a cop or other people. Like I've had guns pulled on me several times, but uh, this was the last time I had a gun pulled on me. And so he was screaming at me to wake up, get my hands up, and I made eye contact with that cop. And I could see that he would have fucking put me down in a second if I would have gave him any reason to shoot me, because in that moment he could see me for what I really was in that moment, which was a danger. I was a drug addict running from the law with warrants and drugs, coming from a bad situation, probably about to make it worse. And I can only imagine what he thought as he was arresting me, like, you know, like, because he knew that I'm the guy that will steal his mother's purse. I'm the guy that will fucking drive intoxicated. I'm the guy that's coming from a crime or going to a crime. I'm the guy that'll sell his daughter drugs. I'm that motherfucker when I'm out there. And he would have fucking put me all over Avery like in a second. And I seen that in his eyes. Like, give me a reason. And and I call that my moment of incomprehensible demoralization. And we talk about that. And that's when you can no longer hide what you really are from the world. When everything in the world can see what you are, you're done. You're hit, right? And so he arrested me. I ended up going to jail. That was the last time I went to jail. But and like I said, it took me a while to process what was going on because I was strung out. I had to kick while I was in jail, um, and and just thinking back to that moment, like I never want to go back to that place because next time the trigger's probably going to get pulled. It, it just gets worse and worse. And we don't die pretty deaths out there, dude. Like we leave nothing but fucking messes for everybody in our life. We leave our bodies in the basements of our parents' house. Our kids find us dead. We go up missing. You know, we get shot by cops. Like it is not fucking pretty, and it's not necessary, right? And so if we have an opportunity to dig in and find out what's going on with ourselves, like there's so many people out there willing to help and talk about it. The struggle is convincing yourself that you'll be okay not using. And so while I was in jail, I I ended up kicking and I stayed clean. And I knew that if I can stay clean in jail, like I had cravings, I had obsession, I wanted to cry, you know, I went through emotions and shit, but I didn't die. I didn't fucking die. And if I could do it in jail, I could do it anywhere. You know, if I could do it in the street, I can do it in jail. Like I can get through these cravings, and I knew it. Right. And so I started the process when I got out. I got with another alcoholic and it moved through the steps.
Wow. Bro, I did not know you were a crazy motherfucker like that, bro.
Oh, yeah. Nuts, dude. It was fucking crazy.
Very intense story, man. Thank you for sharing that. I didn't know that part of you, and now you got major street cred over here on my side, bro.
I got no street credit left, dude. Uh, if I could tell on somebody in a minute, I don't care.
Hey, if it means to putting them out of the streets and hurting other people, like you said, that cop looked in you in the eye like that, then it is what it is, bro.
Yeah, I mean, think about that, right? Like we don't know the long-term damage that we do, and I share about this. You know, I remember stealing, like breaking into people's garages and stealing shit from their cars. And for some reason, there's one that sticks out in my mind, and I don't know why, but it's like I can feel that lady's pain and fear when she came out and she saw that her property had been broken into, that her purse was missing. And it was a life changer for her because she wasn't from the streets. I'm from the streets. Like I understand, like every day was chaos for me. Every day was people getting hurt and shit coming up missing and crimes happening and all those things. But for her, she was a mother and like she raised kids and like her life was fairly safe. And then all of a sudden she goes to leave for work one morning, can't find her purse, starts looking, sees that her car's trashed, that shit's missing, and she gets that feeling that the world is no longer safe. And I created that in her life, right? Like we don't, and she lives with that every day. Like I don't know that personally, but like for some reason I can feel that,
Mm,
you know? We don't
yeah,
know the damage we do.
we really don't, bro. Damn, bro. I'm so blessed and honored to have you on here for this message that you're sharing right now.
Oh,
You're helping me right now in so many ways, dude. So many freaking ways. I never looked at it that way, really. So thank you for sharing
well,
that. Since you talked about you were about to get into your recovery process there at the end, let's talk about rising up from the ashes. What was your
sure.
recovery process like? What do the spiritual principles mean to you, and what program are you on?
So I'm a 12 step, like 12 step recovery, but uh I do a lot through the podcast now. I'm really interested in all pathways recovery, but I think the 12 steps of AA, NA, whatever A is a great fucking guideline for self-development, right?
Yeah.
And so for me, the big change came from me in step three. Like I did step one the way that you're talking about, that I talked about. Step two is something that happened to me, right? Um, I came to believe that a power greater than myself could restore me to sanity through just action, right? I was acting sanely. That was something that happened. But
Hmm.
step three was a pivotal moment for me because I was staying sober, but I had warrants in my hometown. And so I was on probation. This is after I got out of jail. I was on probation. I was working a program. I hadn't started working yet, and I wanted to clear these warrants up. And my sponsor's like, well, I told my sponsor, I'm like, I'm going to go to jail for these warrants. Like, I got some time I'm going to have to serve, and I want to do my fourth step while I'm in jail. He's like, well, then we got to do a third step. And so we went to this monastery, this Trappist monk monastery that a lot of people got sober at, and Trappists are like a Catholic monk, but it's a really dope, it's a really dope setting. But I had never been to a Catholic setting before, right? So big stained glass window, like the kneelers on the pews and all that stuff. But um, and so we went and we talked about willingness. We talked about, what are we willing to do to continue this process? And I was willing to do whatever because at that point I was like down to fucking be sober, dude. And that's all I wanted. That was before I realized what my mission in life is. I just wanted to be sober. And so um, we went through all this stuff traditionally, and like in that process, the tradition is to get down and pray, right? You get on your knees, pray, turn your will and your life over to the care of God as you understand him. My sponsor offered me to come down and pray with him. Now I'd been praying my whole life, various degrees, right? Like, and some of them were sincere, bro. Like some of them were like, fucking please help me get sober. And some of them were just like, please get me the fuck out of this situation. But
Yeah.
like most of them were just selfish prayers most of my life. Like, give me,
Yeah.
give me, give me whatever. And so I got down on my knees with this guy, and he said a pretty standard Christian prayer. And I did not want to pray with this dude, man. Like, I don't know what it was, but I was uncomfortable as fuck. And but I was willing. And so I got down on my knees and and I basically said the third step prayer out of the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous, the best that I could remember, right? And like I physically, dude, like I started getting all hot. I was sweaty, like I wanted to run the fuck away. I wanted to like just get out of there, dude. It was the worst shit fucking prayer I ever had in my life. But I got through it. I got up, we left that place, and I went and turned myself in for those warrants. And while I was in jail, I wrote out my 4-step the way it's outlined in the big book. Well, when I got out, I started doing my 5th step with him, and I read it to him, which is basically just I read my 4-step to him. We went over some shit, we chopped it up. He identified, I identified, and then we moved into step 6 and 7, right? And what ended up happening is I figured out what happened to me while I was doing that 3rd step prayer, and the feeling that I had. And the feeling that I was going through was extreme embarrassment, bro. And like I was just embarrassed to be there. I was embarrassed to fucking not be working. I was embarrassed to feel like less than a man. I was embarrassed to be a fucking alcoholic. I was embarrassed of the fact that I had warrants and I needed my parents' help for money. I was embarrassed at the lot of my life, where it had taken me. It was extreme embarrassment. And I got up and I left without getting drunk, dude. And it was the first time in my life that I ever felt that way and didn't relapse, right? And I realized that embarrassment is my relapse emotion, right? My whole life, every time I would get out of jail and try to stay clean, or I'd go to treatment and try to stay clean, or I'd get a resolution that I'm going to stay sober this time or not do this thing or that thing, something would happen and I would get embarrassed. Either I would trip on a sidewalk or somebody would say something. I wouldn't do that well at something. I would get embarrassed and I'd go fucking use over it. And that was the first time that I got through embarrassment without using. And I haven't been embarrassed of anything since, dude. And so I got past that and I was able to finish all 12 steps with that dude and come up with an understanding of the fact that the disease of alcoholism, this disease, the true insanity of this disease is never having a relationship with yourself. Staying in fucking relationships that you know are bad for you, eating food that you know is shit, like not going after a career that you know you need, you know, doing things or not doing things that deep inside you know you need to do or not need to do. That's the insanity of this thing. And we go back to things that don't work. We go back to relationships that are bad. And so my mission in life today is to know myself well. I want to know me really, really good because I'm all there is, dude. Why wouldn't I want to know me?
Yeah, bro. It's like everything I throw to you, bro, you're just freaking just throwing major fire my way, dude.
Dude, when you live your program, you can fucking throw it down anytime. You know what I mean? Like it's time to share.
I love it, bro. I love it. Now, your experience, I felt like I went through something like that, dude. I was hungover as fuck, bro, and I had went on a binge of doing coke, right? So I woke up, but I forgot what it was. It was an event where I had to be at church. So I had to go and I went, dude. And literally as I was walking in and everybody we were late. So as we walked in, we went all the way to the front, walked right down the middle, dude. I was dripping and sweat as soon as we walked in that it opened up and all of a sudden sweaty, like that kind of sweat that it looks like you just got done in a basketball game. Like it was just bad. And I was like, why am I sweating right now? And I really felt like I was melting. I was like, oh
Yeah.
shit, like I don't belong here. I felt embarrassed, bro. I felt embarrassed. I felt like I was the devil, dude. I felt like I was like, dude, like you are burning right now because you have shit that you've done that is just like not good.
Yeah.
I stood there for like 10 seconds and my kid's mother at the time she looked at me and she was like, dude, what the hell is wrong with you? I
Yeah.
was pale, sweating, like my clothes, it was wet, bro. I walked out of there. I had to like say, excuse me, sorry, walked out of there to all eyes on me. All eyes on me. And at that moment, dude, I just obviously I didn't stop after that, but that moment, now that you brought that up, it just reminded me like, holy cow, like I've had an incident like that.
Huh. Yeah.
So thank you for sharing that, bro.
Well,
You really, I could tell, like I'm barely, like I mentioned to you earlier, I'm barely going through the 12 steps. And like you said, it's good for any sort of personal development. As you know, I'm not a 12 stepper, so I'm barely doing it now.
mhm.
And I'm excited about it, dude. I'm excited about it. And, go and behold, I am on the third step right now.
Nice.
I am on the third step. I'm just about to get started on it. And I'm really looking forward to it. Thank you so much for sharing that, dude.
Welcome.
I want to jump into a segment because I feel like we covered that recovery aspect pretty well. I want to jump into an aspect. I want to jump into a segment right now that I think we're going to have some fun with, and it's called Take It Away. Now, I'm always in charge. I'm always in charge of this podcast and kind of guiding it, but I want to bring something new to the table to where the guest can kind of guide the conversation a certain way as to something they really want to talk about, a message they really want to convey in regards to recovery. What is it that you'd like to talk about for?
Ooh. Dude, right now, like, and I've done a live on Instagram about this, and I'm going to keep doing lives on it because I'm really interested in this topic, but it's beliefs. Like where do you get your beliefs from, and how do you know that you believe them? And 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 the reason for that is because, like, I said I believed in God for a really long time, and I said I believed, I had these things that I said I believed, and sometimes I thought I did believe it, but my behaviors did not match up to them,
Mm,
right? And so, like, I don't know how to take it away from that, but, like, how do you know you believe something? Like, I don't know, what is something you think you believe, and how do you know you believe it?
I think you said it perfectly, bro. I think if you say you believe something, but your actions do not match that, and you don't conduct yourself in that manner, then you really don't believe in it. So I think it has to do with action, and on top of that, it has to do with your train of thought, really. But no one knows that except for you. You only know what you're thinking.
Right.
So it's also like that saying, like who are you really when people are not looking?
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So to answer your question, you actually answered it. I think it's for me, it's taking action on the things that you're talking about. Um, for me at least, bro, I feel like there's times where I gotta check myself because what I say sometimes does not completely align with what I'm doing. But one thing I've noticed in my life at least is that I get instant karma almost instantly because certain actions, and I'm not talking about like these huge actions of like relapsing or like stealing again. I'm talking about like little small things, little small details that are getting you out of character. Those
Hmm.
things that are really the things that build you up to who you are now. And as soon as I start um how do you call it, shying away from those things, or I start drifting away from that, I feel it inside of my soul. I feel it in instant karma. Something small has to happen. I either get pulled over by the cops, I get a ticket, like maybe a slap on the wrist, or just somebody for some reason is giving me bad vibes, and I feel energy. I'm super sensitive to people's energy, and I don't like that. I don't like when I'm putting off bad vibes because I'm essentially receiving what I'm putting out. So if I'm receiving negative shit, then that means something's wrong with me and I'm not doing things correctly, or my actions are not lining up to what I am talking about. Did I go a little bit too out of control with that question, or what's your take on it?
I think that's something that you believe.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's a great example of, like,
What I
this is something that I believe, and this is why I believe it. Here's the examples of why I believe that.
believe.
Right? And I do too. I think instant karma is a real thing, and it manifests itself with me in, like, negative thinking, or energy leaks. My coach always talks about energy leaks, and how, like, if I don't hold to the highest version of myself and keep my character and conduct in place, then the next thing I know, I'm obsessing about food. And now my energy's going, instead of it going to the next person I can help, it's going to the next thing I can consume. Right. And those things come from a place of observing myself. Right. And so I think beliefs are like I'm processing them. It's not like I bring up the question because I don't know, right? I'm processing what these things are because I used to think that I had to be really rigid in a belief, right? I had to if you say you believe this, you fucking believe this until the day that you die. You don't get to change that belief. You don't get to, like that's what I used to think. And now I'm starting to come around to like it's okay for my beliefs to change.
Mm.
experiment experiment with what that is, right? Because there was a time that I knew beyond a shadow of a doubt that if you got to know me, not only would you reject me, you have to reject me. It's not a question of whether you will or not. If I reveal who I really am to you, you fucking have to reject me because I'm unacceptable. And that was a deep held belief, right? And so I wouldn't ever put myself out there for you to find out who I am. And that's because I didn't ever give myself any credit to the good things that I am, right? The humor, the fun, the loyalty, you know, all I kept stock of was the secrets, the hiding, the stealing, the lack of. And so if I eliminate the negative and pronounce on the positive, then the illusion of negative self is just that. It's an illusion. But I have it, right? I don't know how to break that. And so when I start moving into these beliefs, like, do I believe I'm a good person today? Fuck yeah, I believe I'm a good person today. And here's a list of reasons why I believe I'm a good person today. Do I think that could change? It could if I decide it's going to.
Mm.
I believe I love my children. What is that? How do I believe that? What are the actions that show me that I love my children, right? And so I think you're right. Like it comes with action, but I don't know. It's just interesting for me.
Yeah, it really is, and I like how you said that it could change and you can be open to it because I feel like I have the mindset that I'm not open minded to that belief maybe changing or like you said experimenting with it because sometimes I can be just so fixated on something.
Yeah, just rigid. Ugh.
Yeah, yeah, dude, and that's and then like I like to say again, dude, that's something that you brought to my attention. And we were talking about how we come to accept a power greater than ourselves. And this right here, us coming together, is a power greater than ourselves. And then a good example is my reactions to like the things you're saying and the things that we're talking about. I'm just like blown away right now by this, by the reflection, by the reflecting that I'm doing at the moment. Like this is incredible, dude.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
So
vibing, dude. I'm vibing like a motherfucker. I like
right. All right.
it.
So I'm gonna give you the opportunity right now to this segment is called Flip It on them.
Okay.
So I'm gonna give you the opportunity to ask me a question. It could be absolutely anything, dude. It could be recovery based or whatever it may be. Shoot it.
Okay. If you knew changing one thing in your life today would have everlasting change in the lives of your children, everlasting positive change in the lives of your children, and you knew that this one change would have that, what would you be willing to change today?
It's definitely paying more attention to the food that I introduce to them, and I guess really just because it's so tough, man. As parents, we say we're busy, we say we have all of these things going on, and they can be reasons. They really are reasons. But at the same time, how you said, if you say and you believe that you love your kids, what are you doing? What are the actions that are showing that you love them? So it would definitely have to be being more considerate in their diet and what they're consuming in their food, bro, because that's something that I'm definitely slacking on, bro. Definitely.
Yeah, I know we talked about that earlier. Put it, thought I'd put you on blast, try to help you out, get it into the conscious.
Yeah, bro.
I-
Yeah, definitely. I love it. I love it, dude. Now I'm gonna go back to this and watch this, and it's gonna be on here.
Yeah,
And if I don't take action on this, bro, do I really love my children? So honestly, this is already a done deal. This is
yeah,
like I'm gonna take action on it right away, right away. So thank
yeah.
you for that, bro. It's such a great question, dude, and I like the way you did that. I really like the way you did that.
Level up, bro. Like, I have such a passion for the innocence of children that if there's something that I know I'm doing that is going to ultimately be harmful for them, Avery's on board with this with us, with me, and we do this together. But uh, it's crazy knowing that I'm responsible for another human life, and that human life has the same potential as Hitler and the same potential as Mother Teresa. And my influence on that person is huge. And we hear it all the time on the podcast through the stories that are shared of parent trauma and lack of um of being there, like like people being absent, and family members being distant because they don't know how to deal with themselves. I have to know how to deal with me in order so that I can show them how to deal with themselves. And so if I'm doing something negative, I have an affirmation written on every mirror in my house, bro. And
Nice.
and I read this and it says, if my child used this excuse, would it be okay?
Cool.
And so as I look through my life, through my day, and I look myself in the mirror, what is it that I'm not willing to do today that I wouldn't let my kid get away with? You know, and it
That's
helps
deep,
me be
bro.
accountable. Yeah.
That's deep. Fuck, dude. Now I'm over here just eager to get in the kitchen and have some snacks ready. I'm gonna actually hit you up and hit up your lady and be like, dude, like, give me some recipes. Like, what are some things that I could start off with? Just because like I need some help, bro. I really
Yeah.
do. I'm like completely new to this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Avery's a savage on it, dude. Like she knows all the chemicals that are in all the foods, and it's crazy. It's a whole we could do a whole show on that rabbit hole, but
Probably. I think we should, bro. I think we should later on down the line, so I could show you my progress with my children's eating habits,
Mhm,
bro, and
for
including
sure.
my own even because it ain't all that. It ain't all that.
For sure.
Yeah, yeah. So before I ask you the last question, I want you to talk about the Other Side of Hell podcast and
Okay.
the vision behind it, and just shed some light on it. I was on that podcast like a month or two ago, and you pretty much you released it yesterday or 2 days
Monday.
ago
Yeah, Monday.
on Monday. Dude, I cried. I cried when I watched it. It was just so real, like those words coming out of my mouth, like me being on the opposite side. And people always tell me, dude, thank you so much for creating the podcast. And I never really I felt what they felt like, but through the like because I put myself in their shoes. But when I was on your show, and I truly understood what that felt like, and I just want to say thank you for that, dude. I want to give you
Oh,
this opportunity to talk about it.
yeah, for sure. Thank you. So the podcast is just that. It's about you guys. It's about the stories that are out there and a platform for you to tell it. We have a recovery based or life based topic that we talk about every episode, and we try to get that some from your story. And our hope is to stop the division in anything, especially in sobriety, like,
Mm-hmm.
and growth. Like we are all so close and similar. Like every episode that we have, every person that listened to it finds something that they can identify with. And so our hope is to get as many people on there telling their stories of success as we can, so that the person searching for that story will hear how that other person got successful in sobriety, whether it's food addiction, sex addiction, sexual trauma, drug and alcohol addiction, self-harm, you know, um, any type of mental illness, because we are not that different on any level. We suffer the same and we recover differently. You know,
Mm-hmm.
my trauma may not affect you the way that your trauma affects me. Like But one thing is for certain, there's somebody out there that's been through what you've been through and they've overcome it. And so we try to get as many of you guys on here on our show as we can, just to spread that message. We're an all pathways recovery podcast, which means however you're getting sober and it's working for you, we will feature that on our show because somebody else will be able to get sober that way, or clean, or abstinent, or they'll be able to talk about their sexual trauma like you did, you know, like a few people have. And it's just, I'm very passionate about it, and we've grown a little bit. We haven't grown much, but um, I think that it's a safe place for you to come and get content and understand that you're not alone. So if somebody wants to tell their story and not be identified, we've done anonymous stories on there before, so that you're not identified if you feel like that's something you want to do. Um, Listeners get a lot out of it. We get a lot of good feedback, especially from, me and Cameron talk a ton about our food, our eating, our problems with food obsession. Now that the drugs and alcohol are gone, we celebrate wins. We talk about what's working for us, what books we're reading, where we're getting our information from. We have a resident counselor that's been on a couple of times, and we'll have her on from time to time to talk about stuff psychologically, a professional that can come on and answer questions. So DM us all that stuff. Like the the other side of hell, man. That's where we're at.
Yeah,
I mean,
I love it, bro. I love it. Like I said, when I was on there, man, I I know I mentioned it to you, but it was so well produced. The quality on there is amazing. I love the whole structure. I love what you guys are doing. You guys, Cameron,
Cameron.
yeah, you and Cameron, you guys just look like you guys just vibe so well. Like if you guys knew each other for a long time, and it's so positive the way you guys talk about things. It's you guys have your own sense of humor too. I loved it, bro. I
Thank
loved it, and I highly recommend it to anybody that's interested in watching any other form of podcast, or if you'd like to be on there. Like he said, you can be anonymous, and it's all pathways. So be sure to check that out. I'm gonna leave a link in the description below, so you guys can just click on that and go check them out.
Okay, so we do a lot of stuff on Instagram at the other side of hell 101. Um, we're on Twitter at TOSO Hell Pod or TOSO Hell Podcast. You can go to our website. That's where all our merch is at. You can get recovery resources, news, topics. All of our episodes are there at the other side of hell podcast.com. Or you can, if you want to be on the show, and you can DM us on any of those platforms, or you can email us at the other side of hell at gmail.com.
Awesome, bro. Hell yeah. Awesome, dude. And like I said, I'm going to leave the link in the description just in case if you guys didn't catch that. It's going to be in the description and on the comment section. I'm going to pin it so you guys can go ahead and check their website. Instagram, make sure you follow them on Instagram and their YouTube platform. So
Yeah.
before I let you go, bro, you got to answer this question for me. It's the main question of the podcast, which is I believe there's three things in life that are guaranteed and they're marked in our gravestone.
Ooh, that's right.
Yeah. The day we were born, the day we pass, and that dash right in the middle that tells our story. When you're gone, what is that dash going to represent for you? What do you want to be remembered by?
I want to be remembered by a guy that was willing to do the hard things to know himself well and
Ooh,
show other people how to do that too.
wow.
I want to leave as many people knowing themselves as I possibly can.